it's Alan from Alpus Group. It's 9 o'clock on Friday, the 9th of June, and I'm just going to run through a few of the current deals we've got. We reviewed the distressed properties list recently. We posted that on our YouTube channel, and one potential project that's come back is a closed down care home that we offered on more than 6 months ago. And initially the vendor didn't accept our offer. They accepted an offer from another developer who put in exactly the same amount of money as an offer, but who subsequently didn't proceed to complete on the purchase. So the vendor withdrew from that transaction, and they let us know through the agents who introduced us to the site recently, a few weeks ago in May, that the site was now available for offers again. So we confirmed our previous offer, and we maintained that for a few weeks until, because there was no reaction and because we're looking at other prospects, we withdrew the offer on the 19th of May. I was surprised that earlier this week, the vendor came back through our agents and advised that would I like to speak to them about my offer. So the offer has lapsed. So I did speak to the vendor, and I explained how we would go about developing the property. And although I haven't quite finalised the revised bid, I'll just explain a little bit about the thinking since the original offer. The original offer was based on information we knew last October, November, and the crunch time was 19th of November when the vendor declined our offer. So that was on one set of facts. Now, since then, there have been a number of changes in the marketplace. There have been a number of rate increases as a result of the base rate rising by a quarter of points on several occasions. So we're now up to 4.25% base rate, with the prospect of further increase. And this is affecting the commercial rates for finance. So we did our assessment finance costs last October, November, and came to a certain figure. And now, 6 months later, we've got a revised cost of finance at a higher rate. I mean, we're going to be looking at rates, probably we're looking at 8% last October as a possible finance cost, whereas now we're looking at probably 10%. So I've got to talk with different funding sources, such as crowd property is one, and I know we got an offer in principle from crowd property on this particular site, subject to planning permission being obtained. So we've got to get an update on the finance from crowd property, just ensure that they're still willing to lend subject to finance, subject to planning permission. And then I'll get some other check offers on finance from other parties such as Brickflow and maybe one or two others. So we've got a range of options for finance. I've also made one of our private investors aware of this development, and they've asked to be kept in touch with whatever happens subsequently about this and other prospects. So the other change in the marketplace has been that costs for construction have increased as well. And on a similar project that we've been dealing with over the same period of time, the costs have gone up 12.5%, actually 13%, according to the contractor. But in round terms, we've got a significant increase, more than 10% over the last 6 months. So what we've got to do is we've got to redo our calculations based on third factor, which is the sales value. And I have talked to the agent concerned. The agent concerned has advised that the property values have slightly dipped over the last 6 months. So the gross development value for this development has now reduced. I ran some calculations over the last few days. It's still around about £5 million, possibly slightly more, but there's risk there could be further reductions in market rates for retirement residential property, which is the sort of development we're considering to undertake. So we've got reduced GDV, we've got increased finance costs, we've got increased construction costs. So that has squeezed the margin on this particular prospective development, so that whereas we were looking at 25% plus, we've got to just check what the realistic return is. And therefore, the value of the site, which we had assessed as 1.7 million based on getting planning permission for 10 flats plus 6 houses on the site, it may now change, so that the site value will reduce as a result of the gross development value reducing slightly, the construction costs increasing and the finance costs increasing. So I'll rerun the figures and we'll reassess what the site is now worth. Preliminary run through so far indicate that our offer that we made 6 months ago would need to be reduced by around £100,000 as a result of market changes during the last 6 months. So what we're attempting to do is to firm these figures up by verifying the finance costs, verifying the GDV figures from different sources, verifying the construction costs, and then firming up all our figures, because the last thing we want to do is put in a bid which is higher than the realistic value that reflects the profit margin for the project. The profit is essentially the buffer. So if anything goes wrong with the project, if for some reason the construction period becomes extended, there are difficulties with getting hold of resources, the construction costs increase. Therefore, as a result of increased duration and increased construction costs, the finance costs increase, and it soon erodes into the profit margin for the project. So that's the big item on the agenda for today, is to clarify and firm up our offer for this particular project. A good site for development, but only a good site for development if it's available at the right price, not if we overpaid for the site. And as a result of the factors that I mentioned, gross development value decreased, finance cost increased, construction costs increased, and risk associated with managing all these different aspects of the development and bringing to the market a high quality retirement residential flat, 10 of them, in as quick a time period as possible once the planning permission is granted. As a result of the risks that the profit is eroded, it would be better not to undertake a project that you're going to do for no return. So my aim for today is to firm up our offer on this particular site and also investigate other sites that we've got under consideration. So that's one particular closed care home, which is a potential retirement residential site. The other aspects that we're looking at are apart hotels. So these are small hotels that are currently operating profitably, but which could be improved and made more efficient by remodeling and increasing the lettable area of the apart hotel. There may be the possibility of extension of the building, subject to planning permission, of course, and improving the profitability as a result of automation and making a more efficient business model. So we effectively would take out the owner's accommodation, possibly make that into a lettable accommodation, take out certain of the public areas of the building, make that lettable accommodation. So effectively, there are two means there of increasing the profitability. We'd also want to automate the guest experience. So we're talking about more of a serviced accommodation type model where the guest comes into the building, we automate the access to the building. This is subject to the security requirements of the particular property concerned. So it's a particular thing that needs to be focused on a specific hotel, whether we have automated meet and greet, or if we have a person looking after reception during normal hours who would meet and greet guests. But the change to the apart hotel model is from the typical owners living in and doing all the activities of the hotel, such as organising the cleaning, the cooking for breakfast, cooking for lunch, evening meals, and so on, and making this more of a room which is available for a guest to stay in. It may well have a kitchenette in the room itself, so that the guest actually prepares their own food, or they may buy in takeaway food from elsewhere, rather than eating at the accommodation, breakfast, lunch, and evening meal, which is what the dining room and kitchen is there for. So by remodeling to a different sort of offering, different sort of product, it's a room which allows for the guests to stay, but also allows them to do their own cooking to a limited extent. It's not a full-blown kitchen, it's a kitchenette. Or they can buy in food from outside. It's possible in some circumstances we can have a catering operation which is available to guests nearby, so that people can ring up and get food from a takeaway menu from a restaurant or a fast food supplier locally. So this is the changing model from the owner living in and the owner preparing the meals. So that's another model that we're looking at, another strategy, which is apart hotels. We've also got holiday lets under consideration at the moment, and we're looking for large holiday lets buildings. They need not be holiday lets at the moment. These could be just large buildings, potentially with 8 to 10 rooms, so that when they're fully refurbished and designed, they're suitable for multi-generational holiday lets. So what we're looking for is somewhere, if it hasn't got parking itself, it needs to have parking nearby. It needs to have a large dining room suitable for 16 to 20 people to be able to sit down and eat together. Therefore, it needs to have a suitable kitchen for preparing that sort of quantity of food for a meal for a large gathering of people. It could be grandparents, parents, and grandchildren on one holiday let, or it could be a group of colleagues, friends, meeting at a particular location where they need to have the ability to relax and socialize together, also to eat together. There needs to be suitable accommodation for bedrooms, sleeping in the premises, 8 to 10 bedrooms. Needs to have probably 3 to 4 bathrooms, toilets, and so on, adequate for that number of rooms. Ideally, an area where there could be a hot tub available to all the guests, and a barbecue area in the back of the building, possibly at the front. These are large houses, or they could actually be commercial buildings at the moment, which we can convert into residential. So there's a larger potential for the a base material for this sort of dwelling, because what we're looking to do is to have a large holiday let dwelling in a suitable tourist area, so that it's attractive to multi-generational holiday lets. That's another model that we've talked about. So we've talked about closed down care home today. We talked about the apartment hotel model. We talked about holiday lets, and we started to talk about the other aspect, which is commercial to residential conversions, where we can take an existing office building, or we can take an existing retail premises with storage above and convert these into residential accommodation. So this uses permitted development rights. It could be Class G, or it could be Class NA. So what we want is somewhere where we've got the ability to put a residential flat in the back of an existing ground floor of a retail premises, or the ability to put two flats above a retail premise under Class NA permitted development rights. So that's another type of building that we're looking to convert. And the other thing that we will look at is land for development, either with or without planning permission. We're looking at several of these at the moment in our area, Hampshire, Surrey and Sussex. Also, when you get these sort of plots come up, there may be the ability to develop the residential using permitted development for residential dwellings. So you can either put an extra story or even up to 2 stories on an existing dwelling house. If it's a 2-story dwelling house, you can put potentially another 2 stories on. This is subject to constraints that may apply to the location. So it's a little bit more complicated to envisage that. Not every house you can add 2 stories to. It depends on the location and the streetscape. But in principle, permitted development rights allow you to extend the house at the back, at the side, and even to go upwards, subject to the roof line and the landscape around that building. So I've talked about commercial to residential. We'll also look at residential permitted development and conversion of some premises. It could be into a house, into flats. It just depends on the particular prospect and the potential for its development under permitted development. So if you have any sites that you're aware of, problem properties, things that are unused or underused, things that aren't actually paying their way financially, then if you want to talk to me, that's Alan at Alpus Group, my contact details are +44 if you're outside the UK, 7539 141257, or +44 333 224 1257. If you're within the UK, you can just ring 07539 141257. That number's on WhatsApp as well. Or you can ring the landline 0333 224 1257. If you're interested in either introducing a property to us, for which we'll pay commission for properties that we complete on, or if you are an investor who's interested in investing in such property development. The other way you can reach me is on calendly.com/AlanJE, or you can just drop me an email at alan@alpusgroup.com. So those are several aspects of our work which I've informed you about, which you're welcome to talk to me about, particularly if you're interested in joint venturing with us. We can joint venture to improve property in order to improve its value. and we can come to an arrangement about the payments and the way that the profit would work on that. We can introduce finance to enable the improvements of property, or we can take land without planning permission and take it through planning permission, get planning gain, maybe able to get some further planning uplift on the site. So it just depends on the site itself and its potential, but we specialize in transforming the value of property. So if you have anything that you want to discuss, you're quite welcome to contact me for a no obligation discussion, and we'll see what the development potential is of your site or a site that you know of, because even if you don't own the site, if you can introduce us to a site which we subsequently discuss with the owner and we purchase on, then you can actually earn commission from such an introduction. There are a number of ways to actually generate wealth from property, and this is one of them, is to site find. And you can site find for us, and we will pay you a suitable commission depending on the value of the development under question. Yes, any property problems, just give me a call or drop me an email, and we'll be glad to have a look at it. If we can help out, we will do that. If not, we'll point you in the right direction for solving your property problem. So that's all for me. I'm going to cut this session a little bit short because I've got a number of other commitments today. So there'll be the next Alpus property deal clinic at 9 o'clock next Friday. That will be the 16th of June, and every Friday subsequently. Cheers for now.